Excuse me. What in the world are you thinking?
Mean Gene, the first thing you need to do is to tell these people to shut up if you want to hear what I gotta say.
What up, y'all? KMB the Sexy Ninja here, in the place to be for a Paper Saber universe. This is the New World Podcast, brother. Damn. They announced Collision, logo, everything for AEW, and I'm like, another show to review. Now it's 6 days a week. It's all right, though. I'm having a good time. And I had a good time with this show. May 16th, 2023, NXT, Booker T, Vic Joseph. We are building to Battleground, and this show was a lot of fun. We had the next round in the NXT Women's Championship Tournament. Cora Jade versus Fallon Henley. Cora Jade for the win. This was a good match. I really had a lot of fun here. I'm already feeling it. I said it last week. I'm hooked on a feeling that it's going to be Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade at Battleground. For whoever's going to get the NXT Women's Championship, I'm putting all my money, all of it that I don't have, on Cora Jade. I'm like, here you go, money. Here you go. But Valkyria comes out because that's the next part of the tournament for Cora Jade. And then next week, then we set up for Battleground. But the locker room's watching on. We have Wesley and Tyler. They're backstage. They're meditating. Wesley's like, yo, we got a match tonight. But then they get attacked by Schism. Then we had a thing with Kiana and Thea face-to-face. Duke Hudson says, yeah, you have the permission to have a match later on. That was a bit silly. I don't know. Kiana James is one of those characters where I'm trying to let her grow on me. Like, I'm trying to let her, like, grow as, like being entertaining. But just something about the constant shakiness and whatnot and, like, with this chase you thing. So, I don't know. But Duke Hudson's got his, he's trying to run I don't even know what he's doing. I don't know what he's writing on those papers. I don't know what, Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams roll up to the building and surpassing Drew Gulak and Charlie Dempsey, just surpassing them like they weren't even there. And then, like, Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, they were pretty much the thread throughout the show, calling out Braun Breaker. They called him out, nothing. Drew Gulak and Charlie Dempsey come out, sets up a match for later on tonight. But I'm glad I got to see Carmelo Hayes in action. I love Carmelo Hayes. And I love all these guys, man. Charlie Dempsey, Mr. Willy Wonka himself. Come on. Now this match, the Dyad versus the Creed brothers, Ava and Ivy on the outside. I just have one thing to say. Why in the funk is the Creed brothers not on the main roster yet? I mean, these guys can go. And this match with the Dyad, it was like proving my point. I was sitting there just like, man, my wife's like, what? I was like, the Creed brothers need to be on the main roster by now. They need to be with Ivy. Like, I don't understand why the Creed, I'm going into my rant, blah, 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 and she's just like, okay, and walked off. And I'm like, well, hold on. What do you mean, okay? She's like, yeah, sure. She just walks off. And I'm like, then I started talking to the cat. I'm like, look here, cat. The Creed brothers. And the cat kind of listened, but meowed off. But the Creed brothers, I feel, are so goddamn talented. They should be on the main roster already. No offense to Pretty Deadly, but I feel like that should have been the Creed brothers spot. But we'll see next week. Well, this week when the Pretty Deadly takes on the Brawling Brutes for their big debut on SmackDown. Ava and Ivy on the back outside had a little skirmish. We had this really cool little movie scene with the family at the restaurant, D'Angelo, Stax, and D'Angelo being taken by the cops, quotation marks, cops. It was just these little movie vignette things they do in NXT is interesting, nonetheless, to say the less. They're in this restaurant. I'm wondering if this is all in the Performance Center. Like, they just got all these props, like the barbershop, this restaurant now. Like, I wonder if it's just like this one room that they keep decorating over and over again to make it look like wherever the location they're at. But Creed Brothers calling out Gallus. They said, look at what we did. And I was like, fuck yeah. I want Gallus and the Creed Brothers. And if it's going to happen at Battleground, sign me up, baby. We had this weird earlier Dijak and Dragunov promo package about not even a pro. I don't know what the fuck it was, man. I have my notes here. I'm like, what's this S&M shit? Like, I'm going to break this down real quick because Dragunov goes to Dijak. Dijak's sitting there in his little dark room, and he's like, I told you I can break any man. And Dragunov's like, not me. 50 Shades of Dragunov later. They cut back to him, like, later on in the show, and he's all, and Dijak's just standing there, I told you. Then it cuts to them, like, the third act of this, S&M, 50 Shades of Dragunov. And he's like, I'm still standing, Dragunov. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, they're breathing heavy. They got leather on. I don't know what's going on. Are we indicating that these two will face each other again in this weird little package of I don't know what? Sure. But back to the Creed Brothers, man. Calling out Gallus. I'm like, okay. Supernova sessions with Noam Dar with Dragon Lee as the guest. Nathan Frazier comes out. I don't know where Nathan really falls into this whole thing. Like, I understand Dragon Lee and Noam Dar and, the subtlety of this, like, oh, can Dragon Lee speak English? I don't know. This whole thing kind of fell flat, but we will get Dragon Lee and Noam Dar for that cup at Battleground. Here we go again. Dijak and Dragunov again. JC Jane promo for her match later on. Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams versus Gulak and Dempsey. This was a great match, dude. Not as good as the Creed Brothers and Dia. That was the match of the night right there. But it was a good match. Afterwards, Carmelo, and they call out Braun again. But he's at the barber shop, and he's like, I had to get a quick cut, which he didn't, and he walked off. Everyone was scared. I was like, I'm going to be real with y'all. Y'all can whoop his ass. Like, the way he's sitting there, the way y'all are behind him, y'all can kick Braun Breaker's ass. Just to let you know. Then Duke's backstage, Castilla has her match next. He's like, oh, yeah, let's go to the ring. Noam Dar backstage with Miss Jackson. Okay. Kiana James versus Thea Hale. It was okay. I saw what Thea can do. Kiana James is really good in the ring. Duke Hudson, I don't know what's going on with him, like outside, not paying attention, writing down whatever. We had this cool little thing backstage, Tank and Hank with Josh and Brooks backstage, and Josh and Brooks is like, hey guys, we became a really good tag team. We beat the shit out of each other. That's the way we built our team. And then Tank and Hank was like, it was more, I think it was more Hank. He was like, yeah, Tank, we need to me and you next week, kick the shit out of each other. And he's like, yeah, bonding situation. So we got that match next week. We have, Tyler Bate and Wesley backstage in the training room. Wesley's like, I'm going to go out there and Joe Gacy, I'm going to call him out. And, Joe Gacy's like, hey, I want to face you for that North American Championship. Wesley's like, all you had to do was ask. And this also, Tyler Bate comes in like, hey, man, I really want to face you too for that championship. For some reason, Wesley's like, what? What betrayal? I'm like, what betrayal? He just wants a match. Because you guys have been friends this whole time. Wesley's like, I can't trust you, man. And Joe Gacy, my favorite part about this whole thing is when Tyler's trying to talk, and then Joe Gacy's like, see, the truth comes out. Wesley on this line, shut up, Gacy. I'm like, I don't know why. That just made me laugh. Axiom had a thing backstage. I really didn't hear it. I was trying to write something, and I don't know. Axiom had a thing. Von Wagner's backstage, and I was thinking the whole time with Von Wagner, I'm like, aren't you on Raw? I saw you in the Battle Royal, for the IC number one contendership match. Why are you here, and what's with this Mr. Stone thing, this baby picture? Can we just have you on the main roster now? I don't see Indy Hartwell back over here. I don't see, the Pretty Deadly down here. I don't know what's going on with Von Wagner and why he's still on this weird storyline with his picture of the baby and whatnot. Then we're back to the Dijak thing and Dragunov, and he's like, you haven't break me yet. So 50 Shades of Dragunov and Dijak. Now we're at the main event. NXT Women's Championship Tournament, Roxanne Perez versus Jacy Jayne. This was a good match, man. I gotta say, Roxanne Perez is super talented, and I can't wait for her and Cora to tear it up at Battleground. But after Roxanne wins, of course, Stratton comes out. That's her next opponent in this bracket. And Jacy Jayne got attacked by Gigi. I was like, all right. You know, I want to see more of the JC and Gigi storyline because it's building up. Jacy Jayne was even talking about, you know, you Gigi are a terrible sister, blah, 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 terrible daughter, blah, blah, blah. I was just like, yeah, I don't see JC moving on in this tournament, and I see Gigi and them tearing it up. Then once again, Carmelo Hayes comes out. Trick Williams comes out. I feel like this, I don't know. I was zoning in and out of this promo between Braun Breaker, because Braun really can't cut promos, you know, and he brought out the security. I'm like, this is going on longer than it needs to be. And then it just ends up with them two, like, Mello kicking him in the balls, then hitting him with the title, and them just laying there. I was like, you know, I would have loved if you gave more time to Roxanne Perez and Jacy Jayne. They had a good match, but I feel like it could have been an even better match if they were given more time. And this segment between Braun Breaker, Mello, and Trick, like, it could have been cut down to nothing. Because when Braun was talking, my brain was just like, please, come on, just get to the fighting already. You guys are gonna tear it up at Battleground, but Braun just can't talk. Like, if Braun's gonna be moved up to the main roster, he's one of those guys, he needs a mouthpiece. He needs a Trick Williams. Carmelo don't need Trick Williams. Shit, Braun needs the mouthpiece, someone to talk for him. Even a Paul Heyman would be awesome. A manager of sorts. You know, you want to build Braun because he's meaner than evil. Get him a mouthpiece, someone to talk for him, because I was like, dude, I don't care. I just want to see you two beat the shit out of each other. Then move on. Go to the main roster, Braun. And I feel like with Roxanne Perez, her losing to Cora Jade and Cora Jade becoming the new champion, I feel like Roxanne then will move on because she had a little tease there with her little promo package with NXT, Raw, SmackDown, WrestleMania, you know, all these things on this board. And I'm like, okay, I'm feeling this will be Roxanne Perez's big hoorah out. Hopefully Braun Breaker's big hoorah out, and then he goes on to the main roster. So we shall see. I give the show a solid 3 out of 5. You know, the highlight, though, was the Creed brothers versus the Dyad. That match was the shit. Cora Jade, Fallon Henley was the second to that. Roxanne Perez, Jacy Jayne, I wish got a little more time. Just a little bit more. Carmelo and Trick versus Gulak and Dempsey, that was really fun. But the Creed brothers versus the Dyad was the match to be the match, the meat and potatoes of this show. So tell me what you thought of the show. I love Booker T and Vic Joseph, man. I think their commentary is great, especially when Booker T talks some Booker T nonsense. And Vic is like, I didn't understand what you just said. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen. NXT in the bag, May 16th, 2023. Tell me what you thought of the show. What did you like? What was your match of the night? Just drop those comments below. Go to ProWrestlingTees.com/New World Podcast. Get yourself that NWP merch, baby. The logo is created by Penta X. Go check out his music. Also, more logos to come from Katie. I was looking at some that she dropped, and I was like, ooh, I like that one. So more of that down the road. I can't wait. And that's it. Like and subscribe. Share it with your grandma. Share it with the bum down at Walmart. I am KMB, the Sexy Ninja, and as always, the New World Podcast is for life, brother.
Hey, Mello, how your ribs feel after I speared you out of the sky last week? See, you're gonna have to wait just a little longer.